Daniel pushed open the glass door of Miller's diner, the bell above jingling. His 8-year-old son, Jacob, shuffled beside him, clutching a toy truck. Money was scarce, but Saturday mornings were their ritual, one plate of pancakes to share. That morning, the diner buzzed with voices. Only one booth remained by the window. Daniel ushered Jacob into it, relief settling in. Then the door opened again. A road-worn rider stepped in, beard untrimmed, helmet tucked under his arm, eyes heavy with fatigue. He scanned the packed room. Daniel glanced at Jacob, then at the man. With a quiet sigh, he stood. "Sir, you can have our booth. We'll wait." The rider hesitated, surprised, then nodded, grateful. Daniel and Jacob stood by the wall. From the corner, mocking voices stirred. 3 young men watched with smirks. One said loudly, "Look at the charity case. Can't even keep a booth for his own kid." Daniel stiffened. Jacob blinked up at him. "Dad, what did he mean?" "Nothing," Daniel muttered. Another snickered. "Probably can't afford breakfast anyway. Bet the kid gets half a pancake." Jacob's fingers tightened around his toy truck. The laughter grew. A few customers chuckled nervously while others turned away. Then the bell rang again. 5 bikers entered. Leather vests marked with the red and white patch, Hell's Angels. The letters AFFA burned bold across their backs. The diner fell silent. The 3 young men straightened, their smirks faltering. The Angels' leader, a broad-shouldered man with steel gray hair and sunglasses, scanned the room. His gaze landed on Daniel and Jacob, then the mocking men. Silence stretched. One bully raised his voice. "Guess anyone can play hero these days, even broke dads." Jacob shrank against Daniel's leg. The rider in the booth spoke, voice low. "You boys got something better to do than humiliate a man in front of his kid." The bully sneered. "What's it to you, old man?" The Angels moved. The leader stopped at their table, towering above them. "You mocking him?" His voice was calm, but carried steel. One muttered weakly, "Just joking around." The Angel leaned down. "Humiliation isn't a joke, especially not in front of a kid." The second bully said, "What's it to you? He ain't your problem." The Angel slammed his palm against their table. "Every man who raises a child alone is my problem. You don't mock that. You respect it." The bullies fell silent. The leader gave Daniel a small nod, full of meaning. For the first time, Daniel felt seen, not as a failure, but as a father doing his best. The leader spoke again, softer. "Men who mock fathers don't understand what strength looks like. It takes guts to raise a child alone." Daniel's throat tightened. He hadn't heard words like that in years. The waitress, Patty, broke the silence. "Coffee, gentlemen." The bullies muttered apologies and slipped out. Jacob tugged at Daniel's sleeve. "Dad, why did they help us?" Daniel knelt beside him. "Because sometimes the people you least expect stand up for what's right." Jacob's brow furrowed. "Like superheroes?" Daniel smiled faintly. "Something like that." Patty set a plate of pancakes before Jacob. "On the house," she whispered. The leader slipped a folded bill under his mug, more than enough to cover both meals. Daniel approached the counter. "You didn't have to do that." The leader lowered his sunglasses. "You gave up your seat for a brother. We take care of family." Daniel nodded, swallowing hard. "Thank you." Outside, the Angels mounted their bikes. The leader paused, pressing a card into Daniel's palm. "If anyone ever gives you trouble again, call this number. You're not alone." Days later, Daniel's pickup broke down. Headlights swept the street. The Angels pulled up with a gleaming truck behind them. "You stood up with dignity when the world tried to shame you," the leader said. "That deserves respect." Daniel shook his head, overwhelmed. "I can't accept this. It's not a gift. It's brotherhood. When one of us struggles, we all rise." AFFA. Tears blurred Daniel's vision. That night, Daniel sat on the porch, the truck gleaming in the driveway. He clutched Sarah's old locket, whispering, "Did you see Sarah? They stood for me." The tears came, but they didn't taste like shame anymore. A week later, Daniel and Jacob returned to the diner. This time, Daniel held his head higher. The rider from that morning entered, clapped Daniel's shoulder, and said, "Heard about the truck. Looks good on you." Daniel smiled. It wasn't just the truck. It was what it meant. "Respect," the rider nodded. Jacob tilted his head. "Respect." Daniel squeezed his son's hand. "Yes, buddy. Respect means people see who you are and they stand with you." That night, Jacob asked for a story before bed. Daniel spoke softly. "Once there was a man who thought he was weak. But then he learned something. Strength isn't about fists or money. It's about standing tall, even when people try to knock you down. Jacob's eyes glowed. Like the bikers? Daniel smiled. Yes, like them, but also like me. And one day like you. Jacob hugged him tight. I'm proud of you, Dad. The words hit harder than any insult. Daniel realized the true gift wasn't the truck. It was his son seeing him not as broken, but as strong. One evening, the angels returned. Come with us, the leader said. There's a gathering. Family. That night, Daniel followed the bikes to a bonfire. Dozens of bikers laughed and shared food. Jacob received a carved wooden motorcycle. The leader raised a bottle. To fathers who stand tall, to families that never quit, to brotherhood. Daniel sat by the fire, feeling like he belonged. Later, the leader handed him a note. Back home, Daniel read it. Respect isn't given for power or wealth. It's given to those who carry love with dignity. You showed kindness. You showed us strength. Respect follows you now. AFFA. Daniel placed the note inside Sarah's locket, close to his heart. Weeks later, life was quieter. Every Saturday, Daniel still took Jacob for pancakes. Only now he held his head high. Sometimes the angels appeared, a nod across the street, a wave from a passing bike. On one quiet evening, Jacob leaned against him and whispered, Dad, I'm proud of you.